Um, all right, we're here in Amsterdam at the Next Web. It feels like a little festival, and
We're all sweaty.
we're all sweaty. The night is very good, and the first question is the easiest one. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure, my name is Benji Rogers. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Blockchain Media Project.
Wow. So actually, what is the purpose of your project?
Yeah, the purpose is today, music and media files travel around the internet in very, very old formats. The WAV file is 27 years old, the MP3 is 24 years old, and so we've basically built a modern version of what one of those formats could be, and we synchronize all changes to the metadata to those files into a blockchain. So therefore you will always know the provenance of where something came from, and also how to contact and pay the correct people if you need to.
All right, sounds good. So actually, of course, we know Napster. That was like a peer-to-peer, exchange of music, of files.
Of MP3s.
MP3s,
Yeah.
and what this is the next. Of course, now we have Spotify. So this is actually the next decentralized version of music
It's
sharing.
not so much that. Basically what it is in order for companies like Spotify or the new a crop of companies that want to build, let's say, crypto streaming platforms, in order for them to actually do that, they can't do it with existing technology because the WAV files don't contain any information on who owns what. So every new ICO that pops up saying, hey, we're Spotify but on the blockchain, hey, we're YouTube on the blockchain. No, you're not. You're not that. You can sell a bunch of bullshit to a bunch of ICO investors, but that's not what you are, because you're going backwards in time to get the media rights. And so then what happens is these companies are forced to go and use independent artists who are not signed because they can't unentangle the rights. So what we've built is, by building the new format, all the rights will be contained in the media file itself. So you can do a direct deal with the artist, with the label, with the publisher from the song. So imagine every song has an interface in which you can communicate with the artist directly. That's what we've built. So you will listen to your first .bc in Spotify or in YouTube, and you can today. We actually uploaded a song into all 250 streaming services. But if you use a secondary app which has an audio fingerprint, you will be able to look at all the rights ownership and know who to contact and how to pay them.
Sounds good. So actually, you bring back the rights from the relationship between the producer and actually consumer becomes more direct.
Exactly. And then you can build all kinds of clever technology on top of that to distribute it in different ways and do different types of payments. But until you get this base layer right, you can't get the top bit right. And that's really the key.
So what are actually your clients? I mean, what kind of clients?
Every single company that creates any kind of media at all on Earth, all of them.
All right.
Every video file, this is recording onto an MP4.
Yeah.
In the future, it'll record onto a .bc, and then the MP4 version will be made available with a key exchange, as opposed to today you can just move it anywhere you want. It'll be as easy as that. But it's designed so that you, as the owner of this, can have your information into it. Your organization can have the ownership information built in. So if someone else wants to use it, you'll know. And in a good way, because then money can change hands.
Do you already have clients actually, or?
Yeah, we've got 6 key clients, which are performing rights organizations, publishers, labels, etc. So and a data set. Because we run a big machine learning algorithm underneath it all, so that you can tell who owns what first. But yeah, about 53 million sound recordings and millions of it's the whole shebang.
So it's focused on media, so it can be media, movies,
Movies,
music.
VR.
Yeah.
I designed it originally for VR because VR needs to do a specific kind of license to use music, which is very expensive.
Yeah.
And so a VR company was like, hey, we need 1,000 songs. And I was like, well, that'll cost $1 million. And they're like, no, we want to pay the artist. I'm like, I know you do, but to get the licenses, it'll take a year, on and on. Yeah. And it just wouldn't work. So I thought to myself, but what if the license was within the song? You can message the song and get a license machine to machine. So a smart contract between the right people is everything. A smart contract between the wrong people is not a smart contract. So the goal is that if you build this underlying rail, you can put all the other layers on top of that. But until you build the tracks, the trains have nothing to run on.
Right. Sounds good. So it's built on Ethereum network at the moment, or
Built
your
it
own?
on the Intel Sawtooth Lake blockchain, which is Intel's contribution to Hyperledger. There's no coin, no currency attached to it. We will enable the next layers on top of that to be those. But we needed a blockchain that did data more than it did currency. There's no mining. That would slow it down.
So you won't do any ICOs, there won't be any utility token, etc.
It is actually a true utility token.
Actually,
Because what happens is you have to have a voucher to make a claim, and then that claim gives you a token, but just to build your identity. But we don't think that there's a true crypto economic value to that at this point. And the reason for that is that we need it to do it. So it literally, it has to be a blockchain. There's no way around it. The token is designed to create identity and authority. So it has to be that. And it wouldn't work without a blockchain. Because if an artist tags the label in their file, the label has three choices. Approve the tag, which means it's true. Dispute the tag, which means it's not true, but we get to the truth. Or ignore it, which means it's true. So if the label says take it down, I can't. It's a blockchain. Well, we'll make them take it down. They can't. It's a blockchain.
It's immutable.
So we have to have an immutable ledger. So it is actually a true blockchain utility, but think of it as if TCP/IP runs the internet, right, and SMTP POP3 mail runs mail, .blockchain will run media, and you can build applications on top of the media stack. That's the cool part, and it's open source, and everyone can use it. You know.
All right. Maybe you can tell something about the organization. I mean, you're based in New York, Brooklyn.
Yeah, we're based in New York. We've got 6 founding team. Most of the development work is done out of New York. We're a public benefit corporation, which means that we have to give between 5 and 25% of our profits to musicians' education, advocacy, or charity. And
like
so
cooperative,
kind
or
of.
yeah.
You know, like Kickstarter and Airbnb are they call B Corps in America. But what it means is that your mandate is to give back to the community itself, but you can still make profit. And it's privately venture backed. It's not an ICO. I'm afraid. Sorry, people.
So what are actually the plans for 2018? I mean, more clients.
Yeah, so we have a new release coming. So at the moment, not everyone can do it. It's still a manual process. We've still got a lot of command line infrastructure built, but they're existing in the world. There's a song on Spotify right now that has the .blockchain address literally in the watermark.
You can look it up.
Yeah, you
Spotify.
can. It's the artist is called Stolar, Stolar, and the song is called Forget and Feel. And if you're feeling bored, download the Digimark app, and you can basically point the two together.
It's available in the Play Store, App Store, or whatever. Okay, and that's actually your app?
No. This is we're not an app. We're the engine. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So actually, what do you think? I mean, what are the next plans, next steps to grow the company?
Yeah. So next steps to grow the company is we're going to do a new release in a couple months. Our Slack community is pretty full. We got a lot of people in there, and yeah, basically the goal is to just start to give it to people. It's free for every artist and songwriter to use. If they want to use the machine learning, then they got to pay a little bit to kind of help us run that side of things. But the goal is to keep it free, and then anyone can build on top. That's the other key. So the goal is that it works for the major label, works for the independent label, and it works for the totally independent singer-songwriter, producer, DJ.
All right. A few questions, maybe crypto related. Do you? I mean, you work in the blockchain sphere. Do you have any cryptocurrencies or?
I love cryptocurrencies. 99% of ICOs are bullshit. And so I'm looking for the 1%. I think everybody is. But I think that I'm, like I said, I love Bitcoin. I love Ethereum. I was one of the people that 4 years ago was saying, "Hey, everyone, buy Bitcoin. It's going to hit 130." You know, like.
You bought at that moment.
I did, yeah. But it was also more about like. I'm more interested in the utility of these things, and so I think that all the noise is frustrating to me, because it's distracting from some of the real projects out there. But that's what happens when there's a kind of a gold rush. So you know.
Just a few questions, and then I mean, as an engineer, or as how do you look on the development of the Bitcoin Lightning Network, and how do you look? I mean, you're still bullish on Bitcoin,
Yeah,
or
I am. I think that we're going to have to solve the power problems. That's not going to go away, and then that's a real problem. And what's interesting is yesterday I was at a conference in Ibiza, and one of the main contentions with blockchain was, well, Bitcoin's using up all this energy. And what happens is that's a reason for an incumbent industry to say, no, it's all bullshit. And so you have to be very, very careful of that. And to me, what engineers and great teams need to do is really differentiate themselves. If you're building a blockchain to solve a certain problem, don't just go ICO big. Don't do that, because you're sending a distracting and pointless signal to the market. It's great if you want to raise money, but if you actually want to build and deploy, which is what I want to do, I don't want it for the money. I want it for the awesomeness of doing it. So anything that makes Bitcoin more efficient, yes, but at the same time, one of the things that makes Bitcoin so important is it's not that fast. It's a feature. It's not a bug, right? And I think that, and the other thing is this. I think that Bitcoiners are naturally skeptical because there's no Satoshi, right? So you can't go, oh, Satoshi, tell us what to do, right? Whoever he, she, or they are.
like Vitalik.
Yeah. But with Ethereum and with the ICO crew, it's like, oh, Brock, oh, Vitalik, they'll figure it out. And I think that that's a really, it's not that it's wrong, it's a dangerous mentality, because it means that you'll make claims without them actually being solved, because saying it's going to be solved and solving it are very different things. In the same way that raising $1 billion for your ICO doesn't mean you know how to make a marketplace or an app that works. And user experience and user interface are everything in these things. My first company was a marketplace. So don't just think pouring money in is the answer. Sometimes you need less money and more hunger to deliver. Otherwise, you get into trouble. So.
All right. And do you have an ICO name that you're quite enthusiastic about? Maybe.
Yes. Cardstack. Cardstack.com. It is one of the most interesting and extraordinary pieces of development I've ever seen in my life. It is going to. It's when you see it, you'll be like, why hasn't anyone done this? And then you'll go like, oh my God, this is amazing. And Chris, the co-founder of this is also the co-founder of Blockchain, and I've watched him develop this over the last few years, and it's the real deal. And it's not, it's being done right. They've taken time and effort and spent money because they want to build and deploy code. They don't want to. It's not about raising the money, it's about the code, and that's really cool to see. So, again, not investment advice, but cardstack.com. Cardstack, and the syndicate that builds it is also building, a lot of the underlying, has built a lot of the underlying technology under us, so they can code. That's the.
What does the Cardstack do actually?
Look it up because, but basically, it's a way of deploying open source software in a way that can make money for those that make it. Yeah,
sounds good. All right. So thank you very much, Benji Rogers, and we shake hands. And all the best with this project. I mean that the music industry will benefit, and the artists will benefit. The creative people will benefit from your solution.
That's
I think.
the goal.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.